Morning, everyone. Now we are live, officially live for the third year in a row. We are here with Let's Money podcast here in Vegas, and we are discussing about what's going on in Brazil regarding open finance. My name is Gabriel. I'm CEO of Let's Money, and today we are going to dive in what's really going on in open finance in Brazil. We have more than 100 million accounts that are connected there right now. We have billions of money that are being transferred using these new rails that we developed from the past 5 years. And right now it's a good opportunity to understand what's going on, what are the biggest challenges, what are the use cases, how the end users are receiving benefits from this infrastructure. And I'm here with three persons that can give us different perspectives on what's going on. From my side here, I have Natasha, which is leading open finance for Google. I'm here also with Luciana from Nubank and Gustavo Bresler from Iniciador. They can give different perspectives from data sharing, payments, or also infrastructure of open finance. It would be amazing to have you here. And to start the conversation, I just want you to present yourselves and share a curious fact about open finance in your organization that could give just a brief overview for the people that are listening to us right now.
Okay, so thank you for that. Thanks for the invitation, Gabriel. It's very nice to be here. I'm Natasha. I lead Google Pay for Latin America. Okay, and I think that the curious fact for me about open finance in our organization is how we saw it as an enabler to be able to do what we needed to do to make and make available new services for Brazilian population, right? So I think that for me, we needed a model where we are not part of the financial transaction, and open finance enabled us to become a payment initiator and make the service possible in the country. So that was super nice.
So I'm Luciana Cairala, the General Manager for Growth Platforms and Open Finance at Nubank. I think I would start by saying that open finance, it's not a project to us. It really is a transformation component for our data-driven business model. So when we consider everything that open finance gives to Nubank, it's an infinite amount of data coming from all the institutions. So we can really see who is the customer, not only what the customer is doing at Nubank, but also outside. And just to share a bit of our big numbers, we have over 15 million customers that already shared some external data with us. And when it comes to payment initiations, we have other millions actually using one of our functionalities in our app.
Cool. And you, Gustavo?
Thank you, Gabriel. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm Gustavo Bresler. I'm co-founder of Iniciador. We're making open finance infrastructure for financial institutions and platforms in Brazil. And curious fact about open finance in Brazil that we have very deeply on how we see things and counsel our clients as well is how it's changing banking primacy for good in Brazil, and how biggest banks in Latin America are changing how they compete with each other. I think we'll talk a little bit about it today. We really see a different dynamic in competition in financial services in Brazil going forward.
Amazing. I think one of the points is that with those big numbers, like 100 million accounts connected in Brazil, I think people can wonder how we are organized to reach this. I know that we discuss a lot the role of the central bank and the regulation, everything, but I think the other part is how you're organized inside the organizations, how you have your areas. You already mentioned how you find this as a project, not a project, how you organize people inside your organizations. I would like to understand a little bit more. How are you organized inside? How your team is prepared to look for open finance and find opportunities to create new solutions that we are going to discuss further on this episode?
So I would say that at first we started with a small team, like piloting the technology to connect with the other players, developed all the protocols, the security standards. And now once we start to see what was the potential of open finance, we started to look that a bit much more broad at Nubank. So my team, that it's the core open finance team, we are the ones delivering the platforms, the connections, acting very closely with other players, with the central bank. But the success of open finance is that the different areas inside the companies, they start using the data or the components when it comes to payments to really build their products on top, considering that, on top of that. So if I'm going to offer a new product to a customer, why not use the open finance data to understand what else is available, what type of products customers are actually hiring outside, so I can kind of integrate with what I have internally. So it started small as a core team that was engaging before it was even launched in the first specifications. And then it's an agenda that went through all the teams inside Nubank. Everybody's thinking about open finance. So it really became a component of building products or thinking about Pix transactions. Is there anything that I can use of open finance on that? So I'd say that success of having open finance really reaching its most returning value to customers when it comes to competition, greater access, all the premises from open finance, is that you have the whole company thinking about considering that as a premise for whatever products they're building.
Amazing. And how is that organization for Google? Because you have all this way of looking globally and locally as well. How this challenge presents to you in your organization?
So I can share a little bit about that, because for us, when we started looking at open finance, right, it was clear that if we wanted to have a wallet that was relevant for the Brazilian consumer, we needed to bring in Pix, given the size that Pix had taken, right? And then to bring in Pix, we needed to participate in the open finance, but also we needed to get to a solution that was nice in terms of user experience, right? And then all these discussions started with the global teams looking at the product, okay, and discussing a technical solution. And discussing a technical solution in the forums and in the conversations that the open finance framework, right, created within the country. So it was a discussion with most of the financial players in the system and within the open finance working groups to get to a solution that was okay in terms of user experience, to then be able to get the service available for all the consumers, okay? And in that sense, it became a multidisciplinary effort, because we had the product team leading a technical discussion, but we also had a compliance team leading a regulatory discussion, and then we had a partnerships team, which I lead, finding the different institutions that were going to participate in this. And this is how it's staying. Now when we look at the future, we are just like managing and involving all these multidisciplinary teams in those discussions.
Cool. And I think it would be nice to understand as well, Gustavo, your perspective, because as an infrastructure player, you're discussing with almost everyone in the industry. So you're seeing different houses and how they organize itself. What is caught your attention on discussing with these players?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with Luciana and Natasha. We speak about open finance to our customers as a open finance first proposition. So not only for new players that are changing how banking and payments are done in Brazil, such as Maggie and Jota, who have their AI assistants in WhatsApp for banking and payments, but also with customers like Stone and iFood, really bringing in how open finance can transform their organizations, who are huge, from the inside out, and be embedded in how their users use their products, either for payments on a daily basis or for consuming financial services. And we see not only how data in open finance can be leveraged either for credit or other financial solutions, but specifically how we see a transformational layer on top of Pix, an automation layer on top of Pix, that you can execute transactions based on triggers and how you evaluate things inside and move money around for your customer on their benefit. Now, we couldn't not talk about AI, but how AI is also supporting those decisions inside the organization and with consumer-facing products. But payments they play a big role in how we use our money on different perspectives, not only paying for goods, but moving money around. We've seen great products from Google and from Nubank to connect accounts to different accounts to their apps. And we really see it moving forward as a new standard in Brazil, where Brazilians usually have 5 to 6 banking accounts. I myself have many. And you use your different funds for different things. And once you are able to connect all of them in one interface with great user experience, it's completely game changing. And it's very interesting, and we're looking forward to see what market are going to build with it.
I would like to continue our conversation because actually I'm trying to help if someone just arrived right now and doesn't understand what's going on in Brazil with open finance. We are basically talk about a huge infrastructure that it's allowing people to connect accounts and move money and do a lot of different stuff. I think we're going to discuss right now what are those cases, because we have the numbers. When you say 100 million accounts connected, you start to wonder what they are doing. So I would like to go on to make a deep dive on those cases. And as long as we are with the two very representative players on this market, I would like to understand how the end user are receiving benefits from open finance. And for our audience, I'd like you to explain step by step, I don't know, the best way possible to understand what are those use cases that we are seeing and why this pays off to the companies as well.
Okay, maybe I can start there. So at Google, we started thinking about all this, thinking about the Google Wallet, right? So the Google Wallet, until we started adding Pix there, it was a place where you could, basically for payments, pick up a card, connect it, upload it, and then you would use it to pay, okay? What Open Finance enabled is the fact that we could, the same way that you connect a card to pay with a card, you could connect your current account and then do Pix transactions. And when you do Pix transactions, you're either transferring to a Pix key, or you are paying a QR code, or you are transferring, to an account, right? But then once you bring the account to the phone, and once you digitize and you make a secure connection via Open Finance, there are plenty of things that you can add in terms of value. So the first thing is the phone is NFC enabled. So suddenly, if you have your account connected, you can tap your phone to do the Pix transactions, where before you needed to read a QR code, you change the experience and you bring a much more agile experience. But maybe the ones that I like more are the ones that go to online transactions. So today, for example, Pix is broadly used when you are doing online purchases, right? And then you check out, and at the end of the checkout, you will get a QR code. And then the process is to copy the QR code and find your banking app and then settle that QR code. Then suddenly, if I have the account connected in the phone, one of the things that I can do is that I can provide a better experience when you are checking out on a merchant, right? So I will give you, when you copy the QR code, I will just bring up in context the accounts that you have available to do that payment and allow you to clear that without having to switch apps or change context or things like that. And then we started thinking about all the new surfaces that we have at Google, right? So for example, you have the functionality where you circle to search something. Okay, so then if you have your Pix account connected, then if you circle a Pix key, I suddenly can bring this bottom sheet and show you these are the accounts that you have available to clear this Pix key that you copied or this QR code that you copied. So basically what happened in terms of convenience for the clients is that suddenly what started as let's connect the account for you to do Pix using the traditional methods enabled much better experience when you're paying offline, because now you can tap, when you are paying online, because the experience became much more fluid and much more agile and very, very convenient, showing you what are the things that you have enabled there.
And it's interesting because we're discussing about an infrastructure that can be placed in different ways, in different positions that are relevant for the users, right? And as you mentioned at the beginning, it's a different way of thinking because this never ends. You always have a new opportunity to develop this and show to the user how easier their life can be using different payments, right?
And the funny thing is that it doesn't immediately start with this full plan, right? So you add it there, and then you start thinking and say, okay, but of course we should be doing this, right? The example for Tap and Pix is, oh my God, but if I have it here, why am I not doing Tap and Pix, right? And then if I have it on the phone and people are purchasing things on their phone, why can't I provide, right, a better experience? So it is organic and it's a continuous thinking when you start using your phone with the new functionalities and features that you build, and you realize that there are additional things that you could be doing, right? The circle to search was the same thing. The camera is now enabled. So if you you open your camera, you pick up a Pix QR code, it will show you a small button for you to just like access the accounts and clear it, right? And it continues to be like this every week. I think that someone says that, okay, but we also have this surface here. What are we doing here, right?
Cool.
So it's a funny thing.
I would like to discuss about the data as well, because one interesting thing in Brazil is that more than 70% of the data is flowing outside the traditional banks. So we have a lot of when we would like to create open finance to boost the competition, everything, I think we are receiving this on practice. And one of the biggest players receiving this data is Nubank. And I would like to understand more. I think it's cool for the audience as well, what the kinds of data that you are receiving and how you're using this to create benefits for the end user.
Sure. So first thing, just to give a bit of context, Nubank was born as a company that uses technology to really fight complexity. And when it comes to open finance, we're thinking about the amount of data we are getting. We can really use that throughout the different experiences, products, to really deliver value to customers. Talking about the data consent, 25% of the consents are being shared with Nubank. That is the 15 million that I just said in terms of unique customers, right? You were counting consents as a whole. We are also the biggest provider, right? So we are also sharing the most data in the system. So we are quite relevant when it comes to data sharing in open finance. And what we are doing with this data, if I were to divide in two blocks, the first one, we are bringing external visualizations to our app. So today, a Nubank customer can see the amount that they have in the different accounts through the Nubank account, the Nubank app. Sorry, in a standard way. You go to Nubank, you see what is the amount, the transactions you have. You go to Bank A, Bank B. All the visualization is there, all put together, so you can really have a holistic view of all your financial life in one place.
I know that a few banks, a few players, they are also changing the color of part of the app.
Yeah.
That's something totally unimaginable a few years ago, for example.
Exactly. Imagine like if your app it's purple and all of a sudden you have a tab that looks in a different color, has a logo of a different bank. So that's interesting that you noticed that, because that's something that nobody could imagine that 5 years ago.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's really like, again, putting the customer in the center, right? So what is best should the customer, not exactly only to my brand, but what is best to the customer returns value to the bank itself. And that's the account aggregation. There is also the credit card aggregation, and that's quite interesting because it has a very day-to-day use. So if you are going to make a purchase, you don't know which credit card you should use it. You're probably going to see what is the liquidity what is the limit that I have to perform the transaction. If I want to use the one that will expire the furthest away, what is the liquidity that I have? So we put all that visualization together in our app as well. So you can just go to one place, all your credit cards are there. You can see the limit that you have available, when it's going to be the due date for that bill, and going to payments, you can even pay that bill inside the Nubank app. You don't need to go anywhere else. So we're getting a lot of traction in the aggregations of credit card, and it has a continuous use. Very strong use from some of our customers. And if I may say about the second block, I'm quite excited about this one as well, that it's our AI data-driven insights. So what we are doing with this data, we are using the next generation data models that we have internally and going through all that historical data. What we can learn from that data, what we are doing with what we learn, returning value to the customer. So we're triggering different insights at different moments of the customer life, that are going to be very useful for them to make a decision. Just to exemplify a few of them. So the first one, when we see a customer that is falling into an overdraft situation, has an account that it's with a negative balance, they are for sure going to be paying very high interest rates. That's the product by default. And what was the good news when we start sending that? Just right after we identify a situation, we send an alert to that customer. 20% of those customers, they actually have money available to cover for that. They simply didn't know about that. So I believe that's the first very good news. And that's the first insight we created, by the way, just right after we joined Open Finance. So
We always talk about this kind of solution, and from time to time, I see myself in the same position doing this.
I hope you're being impacted by the other ones that are more interesting. But
People are not. I'm not receiving a few alerts that I'm supposed to receive.
but it's good that you are getting those. Right?
Yes,
So-
yes.
And overall, people are, we reduce the amount of time that they spend in an overdraft situation by 3 days. Everyone, and it's millions of customers that have received that. There is another one that it's when we identify that there are money sitting in their saving accounts, and they could be making more money if they were to apply at one of our products. Caixinha, many Brazilians here, so you might be familiar with that. So we actually send a very simple comparison. If you were to leave this amount of money at Poupança, that's the amount you would make in the end of 12 months. If you
Yeah.
put at this product of ours, that's the delta, the extra delta you're going to be getting.
It's important because especially in Brazil with high interest rates, if you're losing money every day if you're not
Exactly.
protect yourself using the correct products, right?
Exactly. So that's a quite interesting one, us getting more on the sense of making the money work more for you. And the last one that we started less than 12 months ago, it's what we call the fee buster. So if we identify a customer again paying a fee for credit card, for an account, we let them know that's the amount of money you're paying to keep that credit card or that account, and you could have the same benefits at Nubank. We are triggering the ones that could have exactly the same benefits at Nubank. You could have that for free. And that's quite surprising because we found in less than 12 months, more than 2 million customers that are still paying fees to have a credit card and an account. And that's something that it feels that it's kind of something from the past when we
Yeah.
didn't have Pix, that it's our real-time payment system, and that you were paying for a package of products, like to perform a TED, a dog, whatever. So that was a package you were paying. Now you have Pix, that's for free. So why you're paying such expensive package if those benefits it's available to everyone?
Yes, and it's quite interesting because the numbers sometimes they surprise us because you say, hey, who is paying for this on 2025? It's not possible. But yes, sometimes you are paying and you even maybe you just can't remember that you are paying, but this happens all the time. And Gustavo, you already mentioned a few cases. I think I'd like you to share more about one of them that was interesting. I know that, for example, in Brazil, it's gaining a good momentum, like the guys from Maggie and I don't know which one you would like to share with our audience.
Yeah. Well, just to wrap up and also give a little bit of context to our audience, what we see with Pix in Brazil, you can imagine like Zelle, Cash App, Venmo, if they all work together under the same standard. And now with Open Finance, we always talk about data and like you could connect all your accounts in Copilot, for example, so you could manage your finance. But now we took it a step further, and it's not read only, but read and write. So you can see all your data aggregated in one place, in one interface, but also move money around between your accounts. And you're able to do that with your Face ID, just like you pay by card on your favorite wallets. But also you have what we call smart transfers that allow for you to for lack of a better word, you have Zapier or NHN on top of Pix, on top of an instant payment layer. And you can create rules, agree with your customers to either protect overdraft from other accounts, move money around, create a new investment product, create new insurance product. So we could create Acorns in well, their standard product where you round up transactions to the cents and move that to your savings account automatically. And that could be done in an afternoon in Brazil with the current pace that we have. So it's really interesting to see it. Not only, we don't usually see open finance as product by itself, but as a toolbox that you can create other products and enable innovative solutions within your traditional company or creating new companies. And as we see with Maggie and Jota, they're companies that didn't start in an app. They started inside a conversation in WhatsApp, and they can move their interface elsewhere, say inside a chatbot, for example, or an LLM. And now we see this competition not only happening inside banking apps, but other interfaces where the user really uses their products. So if I receive a charge from my friends in a WhatsApp message, I forward it to Maggie, and it will pay with my Nubank account, for example, and also show me how much is left of my funds in Nubank. And I can connect all my other banks there as well, and they can orchestrate funds. So if I only had 50 reais in Nubank, I can use another 50 reais to pay a $100 charge, 100 reais charge, and use funds from other accounts as well. So that's really interesting, and we're starting to see how these companies are creating new products with it. We really believe that now that you can connect and use your funds from any account in just one interface. That could be a WhatsApp conversation, or it could be a banking app. This is the place where you're gonna manage your payments. It's where you're gonna manage your finance. And it's gonna be the place where you're gonna get the product offerings that you might be using more frequently. So we really see before that banks were very preoccupied with the custody of funds. So they wanted you to have an account there and have your funds there and have investments there. That would lower the risk to offer you financial products, but also would mean that they would be the channel that you would go first to hire a credit product, an insurance product, investment products. And now it doesn't matter where my money is at. I can have money in many different banks, but there's one interface that I use and that I connect all of them, and that I move money from them in through this interface. And this is going to be the interface where I'm going to probably hire most of my financial products. So really see a change in how financial institutions, payment institutions compete based solely on that. It moved from custody to channel, and now the channel is becoming much more important. And as we were talking about, we see you couldn't imagine to see banks showing their biggest competitor's logo in their prime area inside their app. And now you see not only they showing their competitor's logo there, but also sometimes changing the color to the brand color of their competitors. So it's really interesting how user experience is being leveraged now more than ever. We always had really good banking apps in Brazil, but now more than ever we see it, the user experience as a really good example, and where some of this primacy battle is happening as well. And it leverages other themes like embedded finance, where you're gonna pay inside Chrome, for example, and Google Pay has an integration, or you're gonna use NuPay inside a consumer app as well, and other products like Maggie and Jota and iFood, as we see, leveraging these products and also embedded their financial products inside their solutions through payment rails, but also in different contexts. So it's very interesting. We feel like Brazil is becoming a benchmark on that. That's not something that happens really often in our region, but especially on financial services. Well, with the companies that we have here today as well, it's a very interesting time to be in Brazil.
you're talking about UX, and I would like to combine this with growth because we are talking also with a lot of customers because one thing is you have the mandatory obligation from the regulator in what you have to do, but the other hand, you have to make the distribution this to the end customer. I'd like to understand a few insights of you on growth. How was this process? How was to explain for a population that doesn't speak English about open finance, open banking, which are a kind of uh, a not easy name for them as well. How was that? Because we discuss a lot of about product, but how to make people understand the value, understand what is open finance, understand this new way of connecting accounts, connecting apps, and I would like to listen about this behind the scenes of your journeys.
I can start if you want. I think that what we are doing at Google Pay is that we are not talking necessarily about open finance. We are making the very nice use case available and just like giving the guidelines for you to try it and just like connect your first account and try to do a payment. And then since everything is interconnected, right, the magic will happen, right? So you'll have your account connected, and the next time that you're doing an online transaction, you will see how nice and how agile the online experience is and so on, right? So I think that the main thing is show them that show to the Brazilian population that has an Android phone in their hands that if they use the wallet, they can use everything that they use in general to pay. They can use their cards, they can use their vouchers and so on, you know that it's big. They can also use their Pix accounts, and it's about connecting it. So our main incentive here is not describing that all of this is happening via open finance, but showing them what's the convenience that this can create, right? And also with the rest of the community, I mean, merchants and acquirers show that you can have better conversion, a more agile process happening when you're using these services.
Great. And what you can share,
Yeah,
Luciano?
no, I was going to exactly agree with Natasha said, and what we learned in data that it was the first part of the agenda that most of the players worked the most. You really need to materialize what is the benefit of that action. So just talking about shared data, open finance, you are going to get better products, personalization. What is that exactly? So whenever you can make a contextual call about open finance, it works quite well. So for payments, we also have some payment initiation inside the Nubank app. You connect your account, you're going to be able to move your money from other accounts to Nubank in one click. That's clear, you know exactly what is going to happen. If you're talking about credit, like positioning a call for open finance in a credit journey, I'm going to ask for extra limits. So we can then say increase your chances of getting more credit line by sharing your other institutions' data. Great, I know exactly what that will serve for me. If we are talking about the aggregators, do you want to see all your credit cards in one place? Then you share. So that's a bit of what we learned, that the concept, it's still not well known for the whole population. But once you put exactly what is going to be the benefit of a specific action, it's when we get the customers' engagement and they sharing more and more data, because they start to see the transformation happening. They start to say, oh, my bank, whatever, credit card, I can see that inside the Nubank app. So those type of things, it's really what I believe it will bring the customer, and we keep feeding the loop of they connecting more accounts, being that data, being that for payments. So it's a challenge, definitely, and a challenge that we can really solve with more offers, more products, so customers really feel it, the population understand what it is.
That's really interesting on our perspective as well, being a infrastructure provider, because nobody's gonna buy infrastructure if they don't know how to use it or for what to use it for. So there's always a lot of support from our part, being in the work groups that are also defining those standards, but also in this market for a while to share with our customers how they can put their toes in the water first, what would be the first steps, what will make sense in a business perspective. So should I join the data sharing part of Open Finance, they will have to transmit their data, but they still don't know what to use the data that they get from other institutions. So how to handle all of that? We try to support our customers with those decisions as well, from what we see in the market, and from the standpoint, they all benefit, especially if they are a financial institution or if they have their own account, they have their payment account for top-ups. Top-ups is the first thing that can be leveraged with Open Finance to have smart top-ups, especially when you add that to your onboarding process in your institution, because you get the activation of new accounts easier, and you can have money being moved from their other accounts to your account and start there. There's a lot of opportunity there. Also, for onboarding with registry data that they all get from a traditional bank or a new bank that they already went through a KYC process, and banks, they don't have to join the what we say stage 2 in Open Finance, the data sharing part, to get registry data. So it can be shared between banks and other platforms and non-regulated institutions as well, just registry data. And it's really good support for customers in their onboarding process, in how they're opening up accounts for their customers, and then adding easier top-ups for the user to move money to that account without leaving their app, without having to go through another payment app, another bank app to move money there. It's very it's a new proposition that we see, but also that integrates the products to the user experience that they are already using, and there's no change in how the consumers already do things. We see it's really hard to change things when you have to expect a new behavior from the user that they're not used to. And we see many banks moving towards that direction, to say, we have a new product here, it's Open Finance based, and you have to do that and that. And you're adding complexity layers on top of that. We prefer that Open Finance is an underlying layer and not the product itself, but what you're doing with it.
I would like to say that it's a layer, and it's a layer that it's evolving. And for us to finish, I would like just to have a brief ending from each one of you. There's something that it's coming, that it's on your head right now. There's a new capability of Open Finance gonna have, I don't know, maybe this salary transfer that we are going to have, credit, I don't know. What's coming that it's caught in your attention right now in Open Finance for the next year? I don't know, the roadmap's to the end of the next year, right?
1 year and a half, yeah. So I will tell you, on our side, what we do is that we are following up in all that roadmap, right? And we are participating in the conversations, because that's when we understand how things are going to get shaped and what kind of services we can build on top of all that. So I think that for us, it's been mainly about being part of the discussion and participating in all the discussion forums that are created by Open Finance, to be sure that we take advantage of that roadmap. I'll hand it over.
For us, I would say that we are quite excited with the 2026 agenda. There are some elements that are key, performance for sure. So whenever you're trying to share data or to connect an account, that's an agenda that should remain alive until we get to a very good level. So whenever we see movements on monitoring and performance, that's quite positive to us. The payments agenda, that I would say that it's one that started later than data. We are quite excited, again, performance, because in our case, we can really power up all the insights that I said. We can just tell the customer, if you want that, click here, and we move the money for the customer. So I believe payments should continue to remain strong. And then the portability agendas, as you were mentioning, credit portability starting very early next year. We are excited to see how that's going to turn out. Solid portability discussion more towards the end of the year. And we believe that all this agenda, it's really going to foster competition in the financial system in Brazil overall. And who is going to win from that? It's definitely the customer. So we are very, very excited with the further development.
Yeah.
Great.
We're very excited as well. For us, Iniciador has always been very supportive of the regulation. Our CTO has been coordinating the specifications work group that defines the standards and the APIs since for the past years. I've been working directly in the user experience requirements as well for proposals for Pix Automático, smart transfers as well, and also for the what we call in Iniciador biometric Pix, that is the no redirect journey that we see. And we're very excited with the next year's agenda, especially Pix with installments, which we have an opportunity to bring more from features that we have in other payments such as cards to the Pix layer as well, and create right now one of the first real alternatives to cards that every user that has a card could also use and have benefits from it, not only as an alternative for those that don't have access to cards or to a credit card limit in Brazil that are many. So we're very excited with that. And also I would say credit portability that is already creating standards for credit APIs, and that could be leveraged to many other products as well, potentially introducing much more competition to the credit market in Brazil, but also leveraging what banks have in their benefit with additional, not only to price, but to their additional features, and try to incorporate that. So we're very excited with this new agenda and looking forward to it.
I'm very excited as well. Unfortunately, we are running out of time here, but I'd like to thank you very much. I know that we have put a lot of effort on this, on bringing all these people together coming from Brazil to discuss what's going on there. And I'd like the audience as well. Thank you for your time. And we see next year for sure. And we are doing a lot of stuff, cool stuff in Brazil. Stay tuned because they are really interesting stuff we can share with you. Just follow letsmoney.com.br. And that's it. Bye-bye.